Hi everyone, welcome to day 9, Soul Reset Yoga. We're coming to you today from the gathering room in the Religious Life Department in Matthews Ministry Center. Hopefully before too terribly long, we'll be gathering here together. So I've already taught you all the asanas I'm going to teach you. We have actually, at my calculation, done 50, believe it or not, and that doesn't even count variations on some of them or the warm-ups we've done. So somewhere in your head, 50 yoga poses. So I thought today it might be fun if we do a little retrospective of all 50. I don't know if that sounds ambitious, crazy, reckless, but I thought we would give it a try. And I thought it'd be a good time for you to test your knowledge a little bit. So what I will do is say a pose, and maybe you can just kind of flash what it looks like. See if you can remember what it looks like before I move us into it. All right, so let's get started. We'll skip a warm-up today since we're going to just do so many poses. So we'll start, just do the poses kind of easy, gently ease into them, get your body warmed up through these poses. All right, we're going to start with gate pose. It'll be our gateway into the 50 poses. Anybody remember? Gate pose. Yes, down on your knees, nice and tall, leg out to the side, angled foot, hips forward, inhale, up to shoulder level, palms up, and exhale over to the side. And back to center. And we'll go the other side. Leg out, tall, palms up and over. And back and down. Next we'll move into table pose. I'm sure you remember table. All fours. Hands under your shoulders. And from here we'll move into cat-cow. Also, I'm sure you remember that one. We've done it several times. Inhale up. And exhale down. A couple more times while I tie up my hair. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Next up, sunbird. Does that ring a bell? Opposite arm and leg pointing out. And back to center. You may recall the variation where we add movement into it. We'll skip that for today. Opposite arm and leg. Watch your balance, stretch the toes, stretch the fingers, looking at the floor. And back to center. Good. All right, from here, we'll push up into downward dog. Whoops, I gave it away, but you already know that one anyway. So pushing up, downward dog. Walk your feet in place a few steps. Get yourself comfortable. Stretch back into it. Breathe, shoulders wide open. And from here, move yourself into plank pose. Feet back a little further, arms straight, nice long board plank. And then head on down to the floor. Knees, chest, and chin, or straight down if you want to. And we'll move into Sphinx pose. Yes. Elbows under your shoulders. Hands forward. Looking straight out. Shoulders down, neck long. And breathe. Next up, cobra. So we move your hands back under your shoulders, head down, and then begin the slow roll up, one vertebrae at a time. Try not to use your hands for a little while, and then press down and forward just a bit to bring your chest off the floor. Looking out, breathing, shoulders down. And return to the floor, same way, 1 inch at a time. I introduced upward dog yesterday, if that rings a bell. Okay, so we'll move through cobra and on up into upward dog. Arms all the way to straight, legs coming up off the floor. And then back down, 1 inch at a time. And just rest for a second. But not too long since we have 50 poses. Next up, keep giving things away, locust. All right, arms at your sides. Chin or forehead down. We'll take a breath. And then come up, everything off the floor that you can. And breathe. Pointing fingers, pointing toes, shoulders back, gazing out. And down. Good. Okay, one more back bending pose on the floor is bow. Yep, and that means grab your feet or ankles on the outside. If this is your limit, great. Or, as with locust, whenever you're ready, you want to lift everything off the floor. And breathe. Shoulders back, neck long, and release back down. Next up, child pose. Well earned after all those back bends. So scoot back into child pose. Legs apart, legs together, whatever feels most comfortable for you. Just really rest your back from those. And kind of arch, bring it around even lower, and then just rest your head on the floor. Take a moment. That's 12 out of 50 already. All right. We will further counter all those back bends with some forward bends. We're going to come to sitting. And first up, bound angle. Does that ring a bell? My least favorite? Well, not my least favorite, but not a favorite. Also known as cobbler, butterflies. Just kind of stretch your pelvis wide open. And from there into staff pose. Correct. Feet straight. Nice and tall. Shoulders relaxed, neck long. Just take a moment here. Next up, seated pigeon. We've also done this reclined, supine on the floor. Yep. That means cradle your leg up, stretch out these hips, sit nice and tall. Little rocking if you want to, not if you don't. We'll switch legs. Next up, a seated forward fold. Get yourself back on your sit bones, nice and tall. Inhale up and exhale, bowing forward. And hang wherever you end up. And again, don't push yourself, just let yourself hang. Let yourself stretch out at your own pace. And then let's try reaching out to come back up. And arms down. And we'll stay here for head to knee pose, which means bottom of your foot into your thigh, other knee out. Again, resettle yourself, get situated, and then head out toward that stretched out leg. Keep your foot flexed and bow out toward it. Hang, just let your hamstrings stretch out, your hips, your lower back. Keep breathing, don't push. And back up, and we'll move into rotated head to knee. So kind of turn a little more toward the bent knee, and arm up and over. Feel that stretch move around your hips. And back up. And we'll switch legs. Other leg stretched out, foot flexed. This one bent. And we'll move over toward that stretched out leg, bowing down, landing where you land. Just breathe, don't push. Back up for rotated head to knee. Over. And back up. Shake out your legs, bring them together. You may recall we've done all of those with wide legs as well. We'll skip those for today, but you know the routine. You can do the head to knee. You can do the rotated head to knee, okay? All right, let's move next into a twist, seated. Pretty self-explanatory, but we can do it various ways. Today we will cross one foot over the other leg. Hug that bent leg with the opposite arm. Place your hand behind you and twist around. And breathe. You've learned a lot of different twists. We won't do them all, but you know you can pretty much twist anywhere, anyway. And unwrap and switch. Foot over. Hug with opposite arm. Place your hand behind you and twist around. And back to center. All right, let's stand up. First up is mountain pose. If you don't remember mountain pose, we're in trouble because we've done it 100 times. Actually, mountain pose is the only thing cameraman Du Lee has done so far. But he promises to conquer the rest in his own time. Okay, so mountain, what do we do? Neck long, shoulders down. Torso nice and long. Feet below your hips. Take a moment to center yourself in the standing position. Ready for some more strenuous poses. All right, first up, let's try half moon. Picture it. All right. I like to bring my feet together just a little bit. It's up to you whether you do or not. Inhale over and exhale to one side. Palms together. Sometimes it's a little easier if you kind of clasp your palms. Whichever way you prefer is fine. Come back to center. Get nice tall center, completely centered, and then head to the other side. Back up to center, and then we'll arch back. And then from here, let's go straight into a forward fold. And just hang. Knees bent or straight is fine. Arms crossed or straight is fine. Do you want to swing around a little bit and stretch out? That's fine. And when you're ready, bend your knees a little bit and roll back up, stacking those vertebrae one at a time, one on top of the other. Straight back up into mountain. All right, next up, chair pose. So when you're ready, arms forward and sit back. And back up. It's a hard one to forget since it's challenging, to put it mildly. Next up, garland pose. Does that ring a bell? Yes. Another word for squat. Okay? So feet may be a little bit apart and squat. And hang out. And as we said, this can be up on your toes, it can be flat feet, it can be any variation. All right, and back up. All right, regain your center. Regain your water. All right. Next, we're going to run through a couple of balance poses that we've learned. First up is tree pose. I'm sure you can picture a tree. But before we do any of the balances, make sure you're feeling like you're in a centered place. Feeling nice and rooted, nice and tall. Ready to lift off. Okay, so for tree, pick a side, foot wherever you want your foot, arms overhead in prayer or in front of you in prayer. Come down when you're ready. And we'll repeat on the other side. So root that second foot. Lift off. Place your foot and place your hands. Next is dancer. All right, you've seen it. Let's move into it. Maybe go back to the first foot. This time, remember, we're grabbing foot or ankle, something like that. And then other arm up. And if you want to stop here, you can. If you want to try to stretch it out in any varying degree, you can. A little bit or a lot. Come back when you've had enough. A little bit wobbly today. And head to the other side. Find your footing, root your foot, grab your foot, arm up. And again, just stay there or move through it. And come down when you're ready. All right, take a breath. Next up is eagle. Remember eagle? All right, so we'll start left arm over right, and then right leg over left. Unfold when you're ready. Gently unwrap those shoulders and head to the other side. Right arm over left, left leg over right. And unfold. And shake out. All right, good work. Next up, we'll do some wide-legged poses. How about 5-point star? Got it? All right. Feet maybe 4 feet apart. Ta-da! Not much to it. Not much to it except try to keep your energy moving through it. Pushing your feet down, stretching your arms out, neck nice and long. From here, let's do goddess. So, if you recall, turn feet out, maybe 45 degrees. Got arms up at shoulder level, palms forward, and sink into it. A standing squat. Goddess. And back up. And from here we'll head into flying monkey. Yes, thought you would remember that one. So, sink over to one side, feet are still kind of turned out like this. You can brace yourself with a hand. You can come up to balance, whatever you want to do. And then let's switch to the other side. All right, and let's come back up. Keep that wide leg, feet forward, and we'll head into a wide-legged forward fold. Exactly. And as we've done before, we'll move into a wide-legged twist. So plant a hand in the middle and windmill up to the top. Chest wide open, stretching fingers to the sky and looking up but comfortably. And switch. And back to center and roll up. Good. All right. Back up for just a minute. And from here we'll move into pyramid pose. You picture it? All right, so legs are again far apart, maybe not quite so far as they've been, maybe 3 feet apart. And we have a completely turned out foot in front and an angled foot in the back, okay? But we want hips forward, all right? So for pyramid, we're heading arms up and then straight down. We've done several different variations on this. For today, we'll do this one, just hanging over, stretching out that front leg hamstring, stretching out those hips. And let's stretch arms back up and then go ahead and switch all the way around for the other side and bow forward. Rest your hands wherever they end up. And then reach back out, come all the way up and back to center, feet forward. Next up, runner pose. Got it, exactly. All right, so for this we'll just step a foot back. Keep those toes on the floor, straighten that back leg, and you're just a runner ready to take off. Take a moment, breathe, feel that stretch on the front of your quads, through the front of your hips. And then step back up and swap legs. Good. Feel it again. And back up. Next we'll come into crescent pose, which is also known as a high lunge, so similar family of poses as the runner pose. So we will again step a foot back, but then this time we'll stay high. And reach to the sky and arch. And breathe. And back down. And swap legs. And come up tall. Reach to the sky. Wide open chest, shoulders relaxed, neck long. And come back. Back to center, good. And breathe. Okay, next up, let's do some warrior poses, if you recall. We will let's start with warrior 2. And picture it first. All right. Legs out. Legs apart, foot turned out, nice line between heel and arch of your foot. Keep your chest forward, your hips will be turned just a little toward this, but try to keep your focus front for the moment. Inhale to shoulder and exhale, bend that knee, and then gaze out over your front hand. And back up. And let's switch to the other side. Turn out the other foot. Line yourself up. Inhale to shoulder level. Exhale, bend your knee and look out. Feel free to adjust your feet. Keep your shoulders relaxed. And back up. Next, let's do Peaceful Warrior. Back to the first side. So start with Warrior 2. And then bend back up over. And while we're here, back to Warrior 2, let's go ahead and knock out Side Angle Pose 2. So lean down on that bent leg and arm over. Not too much weight here. Chest open. And back to center. And we'll head to the other side. Arms up, moving down into Warrior 2 just briefly before we fold back into Peaceful Warrior. And then down into Side Angle. Good. Back up and centered. All right, let's bring your feet together. Take a moment. Even with 50 poses, we get to rest a little bit. All right, so we still haven't done Warrior 1 and Warrior 3. So let's try those next. So, Warrior 1, we're going to separate feet very similar, but this time we want our hips completely forward. We haven't done this one so much, so you may not remember. But very similar to Warrior 2, except basically we want to be forward and our arms are up. So, but the same bending, bring arms up first and then bend that knee. Warrior 1. And back up. And let's just switch right over to Warrior 1 on the other side. So arms up and sink down into the pose. Keep breathing, shoulders relaxed, arms energized. And back to center. All right. Okay, last but not least, Warrior 3. Can you picture it? It's another balance pose. Okay? So turn back to the side. And for this one, go ahead and root one of your feet. And the other one, remember, is back. And then we have Warrior 1 arms, and then we're just going to pivot right down. So arms up, foot off, and head down. And come up when you're ready. And just go ahead and we'll do that on the other side. Plant the other foot, arms up, and lift off. And back up. Okay. Our last standing wide-legged pose is triangle. I'm sure you have that one etched in your memory. So, feet back apart, one leg turned out, same relationship between feet as we've done with the warrior pose. This time inhale, arms to shoulder level, palms forward. Reach out towards your extended leg and head down. Stretching your hands as far apart as you can get them. Looking up. And rotating back. And arms down. Good. All right, let's switch the feet. Do it on the other side. Up to shoulder level, palms forward. Reach out and rotate down. And wherever you land is perfectly fine. Just keep that upper arm stretching. Gaze up in the direction of it. Chest wide open. Hips open to the front. And back to center. All right. Believe it or not, we are on track to hit all 50. Next we get to lie down. So we're coming to the cool down portion. So we're going to start with a bridge. I don't know if you would have guessed where it was if I hadn't told you we're going to lie down, but let's try it. Let's go this way. So bridge is lying on your back, feet planted on the floor. There's your starting point. Get yourself situated, relaxed on the floor. And feet are planted, and for bridge, you just lift your pelvis to the sky. Try to bring those shoulders underneath a little bit, palms flat on the floor. Press your feet in to lift your hips higher. Back of your neck is long. And come back down. Good. Next up, happy baby. I almost gave it away with my feet. All right, good. Just grab your feet and just try to roll a little bit. Start stretching out the kinks in your back. From happy baby, go straight into knees to chest. And let's do a little supine twist while we're here. So arms out to your sides. Roll those knees down to one side. Gaze off in the opposite direction. And reverse. And back to center. And just roll your back out a little bit more. And good news, we made it to number 50, which is Shavasana. So we get to rest. So, as usual, bring your shoulders away from your head, nice long neck. Tuck the small of your back into the floor, and then stretch out your legs and release your back. Arms reaching down and then falling open by your side. 50 poses is a lot. I don't know about you, but that was a workout, I think. Congratulations on all you've learned. Now time to rest. Close your eyes and start to let the floor completely take over. Bring your focus to your breath. Nice deep breaths at your own pace. Just leave everything else out of your head. Just get into the rhythm of your breath. And feel your body move to the rhythm of your breath. Let your body feel very heavy on the floor, as if it's just filled with sandbags. Just so heavy you couldn't even lift it if you wanted to. Sinking, sinking. Let your head sink, your shoulders, arms, hands. Feel your back sink into the floor, your hips, your legs, your feet. And just when you think it can't sink any deeper, imagine all the sand from those sandbags just draining out into the floor. And now you're just as light as can be. And just lie there and float along on your breath. Not a care in the world. Completely relaxed, feeling energized from all those 50 asanas you just completed. In your own time, begin to wake your body up. Bring everything back to life. Take your time and roll your body back over to the side. Slowly come to a seated position. Take all the time you want. And when you're up, take a moment, set your intention for the rest of the day. Feel your strength, feel your energy, flexibility. Plan to devote it to something really good today. Open your eyes if you haven't already. Thank you for joining me and have a wonderful day.